Hey guys, it's Will. So quantum computing stocks are heating up and the race to dominate this game-changing tech is on. So today we're going to be breaking down the biggest movers in the space. We're going to be going over IonQ, Rigetti, D-Wave, more, plus how they fit into the explosive future of tech and this AI boom in 2025. So hopefully you guys enjoy. That's not all though. I want to share with you guys something that we just raised the stakes on, which is our StockMate offer. So if AMD stock hits $185 per share on March 20th, then you get StockMate for free. Now again, there's a lot of stocks to go over here, but AMD stock, when we look at it, 185, that's right here. That's what we'd have to see. If that performance, if AMD hits that $185 mark by March 20th, then your StockMate enrollment is free. And guys, we already closed the last sale with a strike price of 160 down here. If you were in just before the end of the year, then you're sitting pretty as we've seen this recovery. But the reward is getting bigger, guys. Don't wait. Click that second link down below to join StockMate, and let's crush it together. And we just wrapped up our live session this morning, guys. So when we were trading live this morning, we were looking at Rigetti. We were looking at a couple companies here in the quantum space, but we're going to go down the list. Let's start with Rigetti. We can look at this uptrend that we've seen the past week and a half that has been really consistent. You see how it was consolidating. It was having support and resistance very consistently between that $14 or $15 range and that $17.80 range. And then we saw it break out more. So it pushed up and it then established this new consolidation. And then today it pushed up to that 21 or 2140 price point before it got rejected at that resistance. So now, hey, maybe it's going to sell back down to this previous resistance, as it often will act as a support. RSI MACD looking a little oversold on the short term. Or hey, maybe we even see it sell back down to this rising uptrend that we see, discounting this drop right here because that was a Fed announcement. So the technicals actually staying true here. But again, this has just been so consistent. What we'd see on the technicals for Rigetti is that it would most likely fall a little bit more today before recovering. I could see it fall down here, possibly if it's healthy, consolidate out into the $17 range. If we see a even more healthy pullback, right, we could see it pull back down here to that $15 range. But long term in the uptrends, looking good on the technicals. I would see that maybe if there's an opportunity at market open, as we saw today, that happens tomorrow, Tuesday, then we potentially will be getting in right at market open. If it sells off, maybe we see it sell off right here, possibly down to this previous support, most likely gonna just drag out here to this previous resistance before continuing up. That's the bull case. And then, of course, if we're more consolidated, we could see it sell down to here, $15 a share. So Rigetti, there's a couple things that we dove deep into, but I'm just going to give you guys the quick analysis. The quick analysis is that you can see Rigetti in this quantum computing, right? So again, we're going over quantum computers, and again, not all of them are exactly in the quantum computing. Some of them are in the cybersecurity of quantum or quantum algorithms, but not specifically the hardware. But we're starting with the hardware. So again, this is a superconducting quantum processor over at Rigetti. It's being built in Berkeley, California. And you can see that they're providing AWS customers access to the QPUs. And that's an important part of accelerating the commercialization of quantum computing. So this is something you can see. We'll see some of the companies we're going over here today. You see them here on AWS up there. So, you can access it through the cloud. The other thing we saw was the Microsoft Azure. Okay, so we could check that out. If you've seen it, great. I know we've covered it on the channel, but you can see over here, Microsoft Rigetti, you can see that you can access it through the cloud. You just need to set up your accounts and you can start running through. And they even have some promotions going. When you create an Azure Quantum workspace, you automatically get $500 free that you can use as quantum credits for each quantum hardware provider, not just across the board, but for each quantum provider, which in this case, we could use $500 credit to test out this Rigetti quantum computer and run some data through it. So that's quite amazing. And then, so again, they're headquartered in California. They got offices Australia and the UK. See them partnering with bigger companies. They're invested in by Nvidia. Okay, they're invested in by State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard. They've been growing tremendously. I'd encourage you all to check out their website. This is a quantum computing company that also gives you really good rundown of how their quantum computers function, how they work, what goes into building them. And they also have a really great YouTube channel that's kind of dated a little bit, but they have amazing breakdowns of kind of the early stages of building these quantum computers. And then you can check out, they got the Novera QPU, right? Not a GPU, but actually a QPU, quantum processing unit, which is very cool. And then just take a look at their website. When we look at the investors section here, you can check out their earnings call. Some of their earnings have been down. So their quarterly results, if we look at the stock's been up, it's been trading high. But when we look at Rigetti on the financials, just to review, you've seen that it's down net income negative 14 million. I think the cash on hand was about 300 million, if I recall. The net profit margins are down. The EPS is down. The revenue is down. And look, a lot of people are saying, Will, you can't possibly say that Rigetti is ever going to go anywhere. Look how much they're trading higher than this. I mean, look at their financials, Will. Will, you can't possibly share Rigetti. Are you an idiot? Like, okay, some of the comments were like that, but I'm not going to get to it. Anyway, we can see here, guys, the positive part about this is that even though their financials are not favorable, the market that they are in is. So what do we know? The market that you are in is so important compared to your product, your skills, your development, your technicals. I mean, this is something that we can look at, is that yes, these don't look favorable, but why do we see big companies investing in it? Why do we see the growth happening? And I'll tell you why. They're a company that's on the forefront of quantum computing, and whether or not they succeed or don't succeed doesn't really matter to a lot of these investors. I mean, yes, it matters. They want to see that. But what they're actually looking for is how much can we innovate? And if this works out, yes, it's high risk, but if this works out, this is a small company that's knocking on the door of quantum computing, and we could see them succeed more. So if they succeed more, then they're going to crush it, right? So they're only a few developments away from really crushing it. And I think the partnerships are looking great as well. So, we'll see what happens. You see Rigetti computing stock, they're up. There's a lot of hype articles. I'm not here to hype it up. I'm not here to tell you guys it's going up, buy now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a reason that it's going up even though the financials don't look that healthy. There's a reason. And it's the same reason that we've seen Nvidia trading above value. Right? It's the same reason you see Tesla way above value. People are looking at the AI boom, they're looking at the tech, and they're seeing what could be. And that's simply it. If you don't like it and you don't want to even touch it, don't watch any of these videos. Because honestly, most of these companies are trading above their value, and they are looking like they are buying what could be. So if you're watching this video right now and you're saying, Will, the financials don't make sense, stop covering, just don't watch the videos. That's what I'll tell you. Because we always are looking future based for most of our investments, unless we're doing solid only value investing on more established companies with a conservative approach. But we're going more high risk. We're looking at these companies in this way. So, okay, hopefully that clears it up. Love you all. All right, so IonQ is the next one. So again, Rigetti, that's how it looks. It's making higher highs. We've seen it establish this trend that's been quite consistent. Every time that it's made a higher high, it has continued up. You can see that right here. That's a higher high. See that? And it acted as support. Right here, that's a higher high, resistance acted as support. This was the Fed announcement, a little crazy, but nevertheless, this higher resistance started acting as a support and then even broke out further. And now you see the same thing happening. So Next level to push up above and hold above would be that $21 range. If it does so, then again, that's the hyperbull case that we'll see continue if it stays strong. So that's how it looks with Rigetti. And technicals, market looks good. Everything else looks okay. Partnerships look amazing. All right. So IonQ is the one that has kind of gotten away from a lot of people's radar. And the reason why is because there hasn't been the same thing. It's like what could be. This is why these companies haven't had a lot of traction, is because the financials don't look that pretty, and we'll get into it. But again, let's take a look here on the 1 hour. Let's drop it down to this past kind of month and see what it looks like. Kind of same deal as Rigetti, right? We see today was a key day because we had this previous resistance that it broke out above. So again, if it holds above this previous resistance, which it doesn't have a really strong, it wasn't super strong, but could see it hold above. And if it does, then that's going to be really good indication. We'll see it continue up. Otherwise, right now, it's looking overextended. MACD, RSI showing overextension. What might make more sense is that sell-off down to here, sell-off down to here, unless we're going to continue, or if we see a hyper bull case. But you can see the trend has been really consistent. Sold back down, the trend has been consistent. What might make sense is actually selling back down to here before having its upward direction continue. And that's how I would see it right now. So first level to watch closely would be this $49 level on IonQ. And then if it breaks below that next level of $44 would make sense. But IonQ is a stock that was at just under $7, or I guess just under $7 just a month or two ago, and really pushed up to what is now $51 a share. So it's absolutely crushing it. It's looking very bullish. The best part about it is that it isn't just straight up and pumped out like we've seen with a lot of stocks. We haven't seen that happen here. What we've seen with this stock is that it pulled back, it continued to push up. It has this really healthy trend, and you can even see it on the resistance level right here. If I go back to here, see this resistance. It's almost like perfect trend. And so if it's going to continue to hold that trend, what we most likely would see is a sell back down to here. What would be more bullish would be a sell or holding here to this level, and we'll see how it goes. But again, overextended right now. I wouldn't be buying this right now in the short term. Long term, everything looks, in my eyes, how I see it, the way I see it, everything looks bullish long term. Short term looks volatile, looks a little overextended at the moment. Okay, so IonQ technicals look that way. Same story with IonQ. They're on the AWS. They have their own cloud setup. You can see IonQ here. IonQ is a leader in quantum computing, offering some of the most useful and capable quantum computers in the industry. They're making quantum computer hardware accessible through Amazon Bracket, empowering organizations and developers to solve the world's most complex problems in chemistry, material simulation, logistics, optimization, pharmaceutical, and security applications. Our trapped ion technology is backed by decades of scientific progress. That's amazing. So we're excited to offer to more customers. So you can see how they have it, trapped ion connectivity. That's really, really interesting. I'd like to, because I know that there's some really, really great, on a scientific level, to look into these is fascinating. How they're manipulating the energy levels of electrons, or moving the electrons further and closer away from on an ionic level to like to make it work. Okay. Okay, so I'll definitely be learning more about this guy, so I can update you with the nitty gritty down to the ionic level. I'd love to be able to get there. So just still learning. It's only been a couple months, so we'll see. All right. But again, looks good. You see it on AWS. I think we saw it on Azure. Yep, it's here on the AI division of Microsoft. You can see here. So the other part about IonQ was they have some really good partnerships as well. You can see where they're plugged in. Nvidia, Hyundai, Microsoft Azure, Amazon Bracket, Google Cloud. So also Google Cloud. I think that Rigetti is on that as well. And then they got all these big companies, including Lockheed Martin, right? They're even touching the space industry. You go on their website, check out what they got, see how their partnerships are, see where they're going. They're not even in just space industry or science or tech. They're also looking at drug discovery. They're also looking at climate change, and these are things that look, if we said that everything in every single company that we're looking at is solely based on their financials, which we'll get into, that aren't that pretty, then we would be I don't think a lot of people would make as much money, honestly. I think things would go okay and you would have steady and normal returns. But when you're taking risks and you're looking on the forefront of the industry, whatever suits you, if it's something that you see, to me, it's a risk not to buy some of these companies. To me, it's a risk not to invest in quantum computing, to invest in AI, GPUs, QPUs. To me, it's more of a risk not to buy Bitcoin than it is to hold cash. Like, that's my mindset when it comes to the future of tech. So, that's how we see it. I think a lot of you guys see that. I've seen some great comments. How many of you guys feel the same way, or how many of you guys think that's just way too bullish? Let me know down below. So let's see, IonQ, they got some partnerships there that you could see. And then the last thing we were looking at was their financials. So financial side of things looks a little bit worse than Rigetti. Okay. We can see they're down negative 52 million on their net income. And again, cash burning will stop covering. Okay. Again, click off okay, we're buying what it is that could be. Okay. So revenue, 102% year over year, positive. That's good. What's great is to see that improvement year over year. Their revenue is beating expectations. You can see they beat by 5%. Then they beat by 8% in March 2024. In June, they beat by 31%. And then in September, they beat by 17%. It's not like they're not seeing some improvement. Okay. Their net income was down a little bit, but their revenue has gone up 100% year over year. That's not small. 100% year over year revenue increase is not small. Okay. So that's good news. We look at that. IonQ financials look mediocre at best. They could be comparable to that of a company like when we looked at Big Bear AI. Big Bear AI, actually even a little bit less. This is the company that makes the tech that scans your face at the airport. Have you ever been to Denver International Airport or Heathrow and you go through security quite easily because they scan your face? That's some cool tech. Yeah, that company is Big Bear AI. They've been on a tear recently, but their financials don't look too pretty. Possibly a little bit less pretty. Definitely a little bit less pretty here. Than IonQ. So that's, we have to look at the overall market and we have to say, you don't have to. The way I say is, are we in a market that's growing? And to me, this is a growing market when you see these types of players investing in it. So this isn't even factoring in the institutions. So we go from IonQ, again, a little overextended on the chart, could see it sell back down. It would make sense to see it in that $42 range. Let's check out QBTS. QBTS has been on a tear as well. It wasn't long ago that we saw this stock at 92 cents and it's up at $9.11. Now, what is that percentage? Like 10, what was that? 1,000% increase. Okay, so if you invested $1,000 in this stock just a month or two ago, you would be sitting on over $10,000 or over $9,000, which is quite the return. And so why do we say that IonQ has potential? Why are we covering it? Well, let's start with the technicals. A little bit overextended right now. We saw pushed up pre-market along with all the quantum computing stocks. It pushed up to $10.50 before now being at $9.13. And right now it's at this key level. Okay, so we can see the chart that we mapped out. But overall, you can see this consolidation right here. See this resistance level right there. See, it also acted as a support more or less right there. And you can see some more consolidation. This is definitely a key level right there around $8.75. And that's where it's hovering right now. So we'll see, maybe it stays strong and it stays right here and it continues up. Or, what would be a little more healthy potentially could be, well, I don't know. Actually, that's the Fed's sell off. So actually, this might not be as bearish as we might see, but we'll get into some of the other technicals or some of the other analysis. The market looks good, the technicals, the financials, the news, all that stuff we look at, right? But when we look at this chart, some might say this. Some might say, Will, it looks like it's going to sell back down. Here's 15% down to this previous. It's possible, but what might be more likely is actually to discount some of this sell-off from the Fed. And so if you were to discount some of the sell-off from the Fed, that new kind of level actually, and this is kind of the hyperbole case, actually would look something like this. Just like that. You see that? So this is a Fed sell-off announcement of less interest rate cuts that investors did not like. Caused that V-shaped pattern, you can see. This was, I don't know what news came out here, but this looked like it, touched down to the SMA. But this would be the hyper bullish chart right here. And the reason why is you see it start to get back into this pattern right here. It touched, kind of almost touched right there, touched right there, and then now it's back here. So actually, this is kind of the hyperbole case for QBTS. And actually what I could see happening into tomorrow is that we see it bounce here and continue this trend right here. And that's a 28% increase. So that would actually be kind of mapping out this resistance. You see that? So it's a little different than what some people might mark up. It's more bullish when we mark it up this way. But I actually think this is probably the most accurate way to, in my eyes, mark it up. Now, what could happen, now that's the bull case. That's a 28% increase, or almost a 30% increase, over a 30% increase from where it is now, if it does that. Okay? So that's the hyper bull case. Now, the other case would be somehow this didn't happen with Rigetti, right? This is people aren't respecting that Fed sell-off. They are looking at it as artificial, as we've seen with other stocks and how they've reacted. So that first case of that makes sense. But if we look at this, this is saying, oh yeah, that Fed announcement, that's totally normal. That's the new pattern. It's going to go down to here from here. I don't see that happening. I know that it looks right. It looks like that's how it is. But I actually see it different. I see it doing this. And I know that it'd be easy to look at it that way. But I did this on Rigetti and it worked perfectly. Everybody's saying it's overextended. But then I discounted this artificial Fed sell-off and it looked bullish. And then it did well. And so, I mean, yeah, it was like $1,000 day. Just in like a few minutes. Like it was a crushing day. Some of you guys saw that, which is kind of scary because somebody told me that they invested like over $10,000 and they were like, "Hey, Will, saw your video. I invested over $10,000 and I made $3,000 today." And I was like, "That's cool." But at the same time, I'm like, you guys invest on your own risk, right? That's all you guys. Just want you to know. I share with you guys what I do and how I come to my decisions. But at the end of the day, it's all educational from here. Okay. Just had to clear that up. All right. So QBTS, we could see it push up more. QBTS, let's take a look. I just want to start with the financials and then we'll get into the news real quick. QBTS financials. Have you guys seen this negativity? This is pretty bad on the earnings per share. What's expected. You could see that they're not missing by quite as much as they missed the revenue in December 2023, But end of 2024, you can see they're up to negative 27% versus that negative 38% in 2023. So tad bit better, but overall missing EPS. They're missing by double digits on most, so that's not too pretty. You see their revenue is down year over year. Okay. That's also not the prettiest. They're in Palo Alto in California. Okay, so the way that I see a lot of these companies is you want to know that they're near the big players, and that's just how it works. I mean, you can either agree with me or not agree with me, but there's a reason that Cooler stock moved near, into Texas, or has built their new place in Texas. It's because you could see a company like SpaceX there, or XAI, and if they're working on battery tech for space, it just makes sense. So like there is some effect there that you like to see that they're in Palo Alto. Outside of that, these financials, diluted EPS, net income's down 41% of negative 22 million. It's in the numbers section. It's not too much different from IonQ, but that net the profit margin definitely was down. But you could see the overall like negative 22 million wasn't like, a lot of investors still don't even bat an eye because they're buying what could be. But let's see what it is that they're buying that could be. So they don't look great at all. I would say they're about the same as most of the companies we looked at. But let's take a look at QBTS, D-Wave. Let's see their partnerships. I think maybe it was the Air Force, or okay. D-Wave's technology has been used by some of the world's most advanced organizations, including MasterCard, Deloitte, Davidson Technology. So that was in the, I think that was related to the Air Force, or related, that was military contract. Siemens Healthineers, NEC Corporation. They're working with Lockheed Martin, University of Southern California. When you go on their website, which is a very nice website, by the way, it's very nice. But I remember doing research on this and like struggling to find stuff, right? And I remember you guys being like, Will, D-Wave's website, like there's so much information. It's hard to go through. And I felt the same way. You can see D-Wave Quantum, leader in computing systems. Okay, so that's from their own word and what they say. Software services in the world's first commercial supplier of quantum computers. Believe that's true. A leading consulting and development practice in AI, blockchain, and quantum computing announced a new strategic partnership, partnering revealed as Qubits UAE in Dubai. So over in Dubai, they have a partnership. You see they're working on Web3, artificial intelligence. Okay. I remember looking at this, and so cash problems, that's big deal. They have partnerships here with, this is Yahoo Finance, so I don't even want to go into that. I'm actually not going to go into that. What I'd like to know, let's see that NASA. What was it with NASA here? Did we see something? Okay, this is directly from NASA. We're not on Yahoo Finance. NASA embarks on the quantum computing path. So NASA's recently embarked on a journey, potential for quantum computers to tackle problems that are difficult or impossible for traditional supercomputers to handle. The core of many real-world problems consists of extremely difficult combinatorial optimization challenges that cannot be solved or resolved accurately by classical supercomputers in a realistic time frame. Okay, that's the reason. They're trying to solve big problems fast. And you can see that they have this project here. Let me make sure, because I saw D-Wave here. All right, results and impact. Okay, so you can see the D-Wave computer, a 5-year collaborative effort that just went among Google, University Space, okay, and NAS. The NAS facility houses a 512 qubit D-Wave 2 quantum computer, currently the largest such system in the world. Okay, so D-Wave is in this project, and they are the main quantum computer that's being utilized here with NASA and Google and University Space Research Association. D-Wave, it says, has been operational. D-Wave 2 has been operational since September 2013, with the first results expected early 2014. So far, the researchers have developed benchmarks of hard optimization problems in the context of NASA mission planning and scheduling. These sets are parameterized to generate problems in the range of sizes that allow to compare. Wow, that's really hard to read. Okay, I love it, NASA. I love it, but I need like that 4th to 5th grade reading level. Okay, maybe they get more investors. I don't know. Okay, we have developed our different cubo quadratic unconstrained binary optimization representations. Oh my gosh, you do hear how worthy this is. The form of input the D-Wave system understands. Okay. All right, so they're getting the computer to a point where it understands. When was this article? Let's see. Okay, that was it was July. Okay, it's 2020. So you see them. I don't know that there's any super recent great articles. I haven't found any super recent great articles super recent. I see a lot of hype articles. And some, I think there was a partnership. Maybe there was the Lockheed Martin, right? We saw that, and then we saw something related to Air Force. Okay, it was that Davidson contract. Yep, Davidson contract. That was 2025. Okay, so there is some good stuff there, but overall, D-Wave, it's looking like a hold, especially what we've seen here. I do think it could continue up on the technicals rather than sell off. But after going to some of the news and everything else, it might lose some momentum here. It just looks okay. It looks good, but it looks okay. I would say long term, probably a good place to be, as they already are ahead of the quantum curve. But more on the short term, I would say there's going to be some volatility. Potentially could see it sell down to 780. But also, like I said, that bull case does look promising. See it shoot up possibly tomorrow. QUBT. So we've gone through the top 3 kind of direct quantum computers. The last one here was QUBT before we get into like Nvidia, AMD, Google, IBM, and Honeywell. And you could see QUBT had one of the biggest surges of all the companies right here. And this was just in 2 days. It wasn't the biggest, but it was like the shortest and the fastest. 2 days, it shot up 340%. Just a little while ago, literally, we're talking back in November, the stock was valued at $1 before shooting up to $27.50. After which we saw it sell off down to $12, so basically more than halved itself before continuing back up to shooting to $20 today, selling back down to $17. So now it's at $17. If we kind of look at this chart, it might look a little bit like that on the bull case. On the bear case, it would be more probably like this. The one thing we don't have that's very clear is anything other than this support and resistance that we can map out. So again, when we're looking at the near term, we want to look at support and resistance. And we want to look at when the rejection, like when it gets rejected, then it acts as support or vice versa. Those are usually really good indications we look for to identify good patterns, right? So we could see here, there is really 2 levels that we could look at inside of this. See, there's that support and resistance, but there's also this, see this previous support right here, this consolidation, previous resistance, previous support, some consolidation and a resistance, and then previous resistance right there. So now we look at it and you can see this pattern develop. The next level, if it does drop, would be right here. Okay, so if If it dropped down to here, that would be like 20% to this previous support. And that's really all there is that we see on the levels. It was even a previous resistance right there. So I could even map that out for you guys. So you can see right there. Okay. Now, outside of that, you might see that this recovery has two levels it has to get through, right? So this is the first level. It would have to break this $18.90 that it broke today, but then it shot back down to this previous support. And so it'd have to break there. That's the next level, $8.75 or $18.75. The next level it'd have to break would be, that was weird, a $20 level. Now, if it breaks that $20 level, then we're looking at next would be higher highs. But it's got some work to do because right now it's holding this level. But what we have is a critical point. If it sells right now, it's going to go back down here. It's going to go $12, probably. Most likely, if it sells below that $17 price point, we could see it push below to this $12 price point. That wouldn't be insane. But what's also looking favorable is this consolidation zone here. So that'd be a 24% increase from current price if it reaches that previous resistance. But first, it's got to break this 10% above resistance at $19. Once it breaks above $19, it's got to push up to $20. That's the next level. So that's kind of how it looks before it'd be able to continue up. It's got some work to do, so definitely not looking the prettiest. If you're gonna buy for this bullish swing right here, right now would be the time. If you were exercising caution that you are at a critical level, if you wanted to, yeah, I mean that would probably be more of the trade. I would look for what's gonna happen at market open tomorrow morning, because what we might see is something like this down to here. Even you could see a big sell-off. Or if that doesn't happen and you see it push up, okay, you're getting more confirmation that it is continuing this swing as we've seen it do in the past up to that $20 range. So we'll see what happens there. That's QUBT. Now, QUBT stock, Quantum Computing Inc. Their chart, again, it's super bullish on the near term. Their financials were looking better than most of the quantum computing companies. Now, I didn't see their earnings here on Google, so we'll have to see what that looks like. I can pull that up, but basically you can see that their year over year is up 100%. So similar to what was that Ionic. Net income's up 17%. Profit margins up 58%, but overall being down in September 2024, they were down negative 5,600%. So operating income negative 5 million. It's not like they're not burning through cash. They are. It looks positive. It looks nice, but it is still, they're burning through some cash, right? So you got to look at that. Now, outside of that, you got QUBT news. Okay, so QBTS news, there's a lot of Wall Street pits. There's Bay Street, Motley Fool, Yahoo Finance, and everything else. Let's go straight to the source, though. We're over here on QCI. This is their actual website. Couple press releases. Quantum Computing Inc. awarded contract by NASA to support phase unwrapping using Dirac 3 photonic optimization solver. So there's a NASA contract. Quantum Computing Inc. announces concurrent offerings of common stock for aggregate proceeds of $50 million. All right, so they're offering common stock there. Quantum Computing announces second purchase order for TFLN photonic chip foundry. So not only are they making the product, but they're selling it, and they announced it there. Quantum Computing announces registered direct offering $40 million priced at market under NASDAQ rules. So selling more stock, that's $90 million there. Quantum Computing secures first order for TF. Okay, so they got their first order and they got their second order. And then they got the third quarter. That was all after the third quarter 2024 financial results and earnings. You can see some of their, I love to see this. I love to see when they are sharing what they're doing, on the ionic level or what have you, that they're going down to it and really sharing it. I really like to see that. And you can see there's also some news here, Professor. You got some, I would love to possibly interview. Maybe we can find an interview here with one of the people that work at this company. I think that would be excellent. Okay, so this one was interesting. So quantum computing, an innovative integrated photonics quantum optics technology company, announced the company has been awarded prime contract from NASA. This contract marks pivotal step towards applying its entropy quantum optimization machine to support NASA's advanced imaging and data processing demands. Interesting. So data processing, yes, they must have a lot of data because, yeah, I'd like to know more about that. The outcome of this project, if successful, is expected to produce long-term benefits for NASA, particularly in big data processing capabilities, and could pave the way to similar applications in other fields where quantum solutions offer speed and quality advantages. Okay, putting photons to work, that's what they're saying. They got some forward-looking statements, okay, and that is okay. Now, that was how big is that contract? Do we know? Maybe it wasn't specified. That's okay. Outside of that, we'll have to be looking at what's going on. Okay, what's going on with quantum computing? Yeah, that's some good news. I was thinking that we might see some of the use cases more directly. And what we could do actually is see who did they sell that to. Let's take a look. They had sold second order for their TFLN photonic chip. So they sold this to, let's see. It doesn't say who. That's okay. First order. Did it say who? QCI Foundry. I don't see who it is that they sold these to. And that's always something that I think they should try to, actually release. I'd like to know who's buying. Don't we all? All right. That's okay. So overall, seeing some innovations. Overall, looking like they are progressing. Their financials looked fairly poor. Now you see that they're at this support level. What we see next is most likely going to see, if it holds this level, it will sell off. If it doesn't hold this level, it will sell off. If it holds this level, that's the next level, that $19 to $20 range. So we'll just keep an eye, monitor it closely here, and see if there's any opportunities at market open tomorrow in our live trading for StockMate. So those are the big four that we've covered recently. But now let's get into some of the other ones. We've got Nvidia, AMD. Okay, so Nvidia, I would say the thing that's so astonishing about Nvidia is that it continues to rip. And I've been investing in Nvidia since a really long time, or not a really long time, 2021. And when I first saw it sell off this earnings, it beat the earnings. It doubled its revenue, and then it sold off. Literally, it doubled its revenue and it sold off. And it's interesting to see that, but that's what we've seen. Past basically 4 days, it's up 12%. So it's definitely on a roar now. Looking on the technicals, maybe a little bit overextended, but we also know this is where it doubled its revenue. So wouldn't be crazy to see it buy. Long term, looks like a buy. Short term, we'll experience some volatility. Maybe we would look for a buy at market open if there's a big sell-off, something like that. Otherwise, we'll just remain with that bullish sentiment. It seems like there's a previous resistance right here around 145. Okay, that previous resistance would act as a support in this case. Could be a potentially nice bounce for that bull case. Otherwise, could see it go down to 140 or below. But yeah, that looks, right now we're getting into uncharted territory, just nearing that all-time high today. So last thing, I just want to touch Nvidia. Let's talk about how they're getting into quantum computing. We know that they, invested in Rigetti. We know that they're playing a key role in what is the transition from GPUs and CPUs. So they're not against CPUs. They're saying, how can we use a lot of GPUs to help with quantum computing? Because one of the big issues, at least for quantum computing, is that they have a lot of trouble with the actual data storage, right? They're so fast, they do so well, but the data storage of being able to actually store the data that they work through with a quantum computer hasn't fully been developed. So that's a big deal. You see QPUs, quantum processing units, implement a new model of computing with potential impact across industries. Turning QPUs into useful quantum computers means integrating with them with state-of-the-art AI supercomputers. Nvidia is working with QPU developers to build such useful accelerated quantum computers. So straight from their website, they call it QBTS. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. You see that you got the user and the code, developer experience, and then compilation service. So this could run through Nvidia Quantum Cloud API, similar to like Amazon Bracket or Microsoft Azure, through their GPU cloud as well. And then you have the quantum cloud services up here. And that's basically you could store the data here into the GPUs from there. So I would like to explain this better, but I don't have anything else for you guys. Okay, Nvidia Q2Q quantum accelerated applications won't run exclusively on quantum resource, but will hybrid quantum. Exactly. So they need GPUs to run these QPUs. That makes sense. Nvidia Q Quantum is a set of low-level libraries for accelerating quantum circuit simulation. Q Quantum is primarily used by developers building circuit simulation frameworks and accelerates Circ, Qiskit, PennyLane, and more. I think those are maybe some sort of operating system or, yeah, some language possibly. I think they're an operating system. Tensor network, circuit simulation algorithms with multi-GPU acceleration. So it's really interesting to look at. You got DGX Quantum there, and then you got Quantum Computer. You can kind of see NVIDIA DGX Quantum integrated system that reference architecture for quantum classical computing, built in partnership with quantum machines. So, they're saying, how can we, help accelerate the quantum computing by integrating with the GPUs? I think it's the smartest approach. It makes the most sense. You could see the Academy. You could see they're working with a lot of universities on this. You also could see NVIDIA Quantum Ecosystem. So NVIDIA Quantum has enabled the entire ecosystem and some of the most important research happening today, from quantum computing startups to some of the largest companies in the world. Academic labs and supercomputing centers to Fortune 500 companies. We're proud to help our partners. You can see some of the partners here. You got IQM, all right. IonQ is right there. We just covered them. You got Rigetti right there. And there's some other ones. QEra, which we saw in AWS as well. You got Google Quantum AI. Over here, we got AWS. Okay. Those are the simulation frameworks. Systems builders, integrators. You got Dell. And there's that Deloitte, which is interesting because we saw a Deloitte contract. I think that was with QBTS. Okay. And then, yeah, you got basically all the companies we just covered. And then you got cloud service providers. So you got AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. So basically everything that we just covered. How do they run it with all the data centers? How do they store all that data? Boom, boom, boom. NVIDIA. That's why NVIDIA is a powerhouse. And so, when we look at, I can show you guys their earnings too, right? If we look at it, NVIDIA earnings, You can see, look at year over year, they doubled revenue, net income doubled, diluted EPS. Net profit margins were up, so they increased their profit margins. Operating income, cash on hand went up. Everything went up. They beat their earnings and their revenue. So again, looking really good. It looks like it's out of resistance right now. Long term, I'd say every single person should hold a little bit of Nvidia. It just makes sense. Short-term volatility could see a sell-off, market open. We'll see if an opportunity presents itself. Overall, bullish on Nvidia and looking forward to what they're building out. I mean, we just went over it. All these companies, in some way, shape, or form, they're relying on Nvidia, and that's the beautiful thing about looking at that company. Now, we got AMD stock, which if you get into StockMate with the link below, then you get and AMD stock hits $185 with our current sale. That would be right here by March, which would mean by that time. Okay, so AMD, see this trend? If it does this pattern, the stock meet for free. So you guys want to watch me trade live every day at market open, hit that second link down below, and I would be more than happy to be a part of your success and have you guys in our live session, and I'll see you there tomorrow at market open. So AMD, with this look at AMD, it's similar to Nvidia in that they have data centers. They also are building the microchips for Starlink. So Starlink satellites relying on the same microchips the AMD makes. So AMD makes the microchips, Starlink satellites send up. What processes those satellites, and what does Elon feel comfortable with putting that hardware in for the long term? Those satellites are going to be up there for a very, very, very long time, and that they're going to be able to do updates. They're going to be able to withstand with technology and software updates. AMD's Versal chips. So AMD is in Starlink. AMD is in data centers. And so let's see if they're in that quantum computing side. I believe they are. AMD, let's just take a look. Oh, AMD Quantum. That's the name of it. Okay, AMD is a true quantum computer. I love it. Quantum Espresso. Yeah, according to the AI overview, a project that involves AMD working on a quantum computing has several components. So they have a prototype computer with unique cooling system that separates the computing and cooling elements. The company stack geometric forms create a distinctive profile and interwoven pattern that lights up based on gameplay. Oh, interesting. Okay. So as far as, so they have El Capitan. I've heard of El Capitan. That's their new, AMD powers El Capitan. Google tackles quantum errors. So El Capitan, a supercomputer powered by AMD chips, has become the world's fastest supercomputer. While it's over 5 million times faster than a typical home computer, its developers say it poses no threat to cryptography techniques that underpin blockchain technology. El Capitan was developed by Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, a federal research facility based in California, in partnership with AMD and HP and the Department of Energy. So, in layman's terms, Jeremy Thomas, one of the minds behind the project, noted that it would take more than 1 million of the latest iPhones working on one calculation at the same time, equal to what El Capitan can do in 1 second. Wow, that's the type of layman's terms that I want to hear on every single article that we ever go over. That would be great. What if every single website at the bottom of the website should have, here's the layman's terms for this article, and we would read, it would take more than 1 million of the latest iPhones working on one calculation at the same time to equal what El Capitan could do in 1 second. To me, it's like, I just want every article to say that. Wouldn't that be great? Man. Like other supercomputer, El Capitan's immense power is being channeled to simulations. Currently, it's being used to run simulations for nuclear blasts to better understand the devastation that these weapons could set off. That's pretty cool. In October, Chinese researchers from Shanghai University claimed to have cracked classical encryption techniques with a quantum computer for the first time. Despite this and other similar claims, most experts believe we're still over a decade away from these computers posing a substantial threat. Still, public and private entities are investing in post-quantum security. Apple, Google, and others that claim they are quantum proof. Several governments also investing millions of dollars in quantum security technologies as a threat of quantum and artificial intelligence powered cyber attacks rises daily. Absolutely. Google launches the most advanced quantum error correction system. So that's over in Google. And we know some of you guys have seen Google's new quantum setup that is impacting the world, and you guys might have seen that. What we can see is that Google is a key player. There's some details here that I can't really fully go into, but it says the Google team has been working on error connection for its Sycamore quantum computer for years. So they've been working on that for years, and I think they're making headway. It says they improved their error correction by 6% when the parameters were geared towards accuracy, and 30% and by 30% in faster, albeit less accurate tests. Okay, so they're making headway. They're improving their quantum computers as well. So when we look at AMD, outside of those things, I think that AMD stock to be selling off, they beat their earnings, and that was back here in November, right? And they continued to sell off after November. So I believe where they are now, we've been mapping it out for a little bit. We're really starting to see this recovery happen. Most likely to see them get to this 185 range is where you get stockmate free, and you got some time. Look at how much time there is for it to hit that level. Could definitely see that happen. So if not a good investment, as you can see, I have AMD calls. That's why I'm allowed to offer this promotion to you guys, so that I can actually honor my word. And so, of course, there are restrictions that apply. Our current sale and the time frame, obviously this promotion's not going to be available forever because March is going to come and go, and I'm only keeping this available for a limited time. But it's that second link down below. You can see on the website all of the restrictions as well, and all that. So it's all there. And I would love to pay out because that means my AMD position did amazing. So IBM. IBM, we saw working with some of these quantum computer companies. Definitely one of the long-term biggest large cap companies that have been in the quantum computer space. How far they're going to be able to really stay agile and continue to innovate is going to be interesting. We know that they're constantly, so they work with Ionic. Okay, so we saw that IonQ. I don't know exactly what IonQ did that was so intriguing. I think it was just the development of their quantum computer, but that they're working together. We just went over this article in one of our latest videos, but they're working together. They're researching together. They're working on usually teamed up to reveal an alternative classical simulation algorithm by a Harvard-led team. So something to consider there. And then if we look at IBM outside of the IonQ partnership, they have it all here on their website as well. So you can see accelerate your development with Qiskit functions, bringing useful quantum computing to the world. Software. So this is a software for useful quantum computing. So they actually have a software that's making quantum computing use easy and safe. IBM developed many of foundational technologies that will secure the world in the quantum era, and now offers the tools and services needed to implement them. You can see IBM Quantum Platform here. Start using the 127 qubit systems for free. Sign up and get 10 free minutes of execution per time per month. Okay. Our commitment to responsible quantum computing. I'm looking into this because we're processing millions and millions of data points in real time to build this new app that I'm working on in Stockmate. If you guys saw it, if you're in our community, it's not a history-based chart. It's a future-based chart. It's based on time frames of analysis for where a stock could go in the future. And it's also going to, it requires a tremendous amount of computing power for me to run it. I ran up a huge tab on my chat GPT, like the newest level, and the Claude AI and Anthropic, and just like testing all these different AI models to like get the best real time data, and then run it back through, back test it and see how it performs over time. Like there's things that have to happen, and I'm thinking quantum computer access like this would be amazing if I'm able to plug in some things. I think if it really does run more efficiently and it's possibly cheaper, then I'll definitely be using it for some of our developments that we're working on for in our application. I don't know if it's going to be called Stockmate. I don't know if it's going to be called Mercatus, which I like. And that's a company that I'm working on right now, and I'll keep you guys updated on it. But they're making it quite easy to access. So you could kind of think of it as, rather than going through Amazon, it's like if Amazon had their own quantum computers. It wasn't that you were accessing other people's, okay? But they have their own quantum computers, and that you can, and I don't see that. I see providers. I don't think they have their own. Yeah, you could test other quantum computers, but I don't know that they have their own service where you can access them through the cloud. But like, for example, IBM is saying we have the quantum computer and you can access it through the cloud right now. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So on top of that, IBM, you can see their stock. You see they did recently pull back. I believe there's also, like, let's see, that right there to previous highs is 7% increase. The level that they're at right now is validating that. You can see there's this previous resistance right there, previous support, previous support, previous support, and they just kind of bounced. Okay. So if it holds that level, then yes, the next level that we'd see would be that $240 range right here. If it makes higher highs, could be a 10% increase. But what you might consider is doing IBM. I don't know if they have it. Do they have it? IBM, it seems they might have it. Let's see. I don't know if they have a 2x. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, I don't know. We could see. Here it is, IBM Q. Yeah, I don't know. But I would look for one, personally, I would look for one that trades not like a large cap if you were trading it. And possibly look for something that's a little more volatile. But it's good long-term growth, for the holding. I personally won't be buying it. I like the idea. But I've just been like, I don't know if you guys saw last week, we averaged 10% per day. I show you guys my portfolio. You can see it right here. I'm up 1.74%. And you can see most of my positions I share with you. Like, look at my Rigetti buy and sell trades, Palantir. That's what we got into today. Like, I'm sharing with you guys everything. And so what I'm saying is that the reason I say that is, transparently, I also like to invest in higher growth, smaller cap quants. I just see more growth, and that's why I do that. So hopefully that makes sense. But overall, IBM, they look good. I believe their financials, there was a moment there where their financials were struggling, but I don't know what they look like right now. Let's see what it looks like. So you can see cost of revenue. Okay, so revenue was up just 1% year over year, but their net income was negative 330 million. Wow, negative 120% on net income, net profit margin, operating income. They had beat their earnings per share throughout 2024, but missed revenue a little bit. On and off there through 2024. As they get into this year, it'll be interesting because there's such a large company. I think what they have is they need someone that is like, for example, Elon. They would come in and just like cut out probably 80% of their workforce And if you work at IBM, hey, sorry, hopefully that doesn't sound like bad, but I mean, honestly, there is a massive, like 282,000 employees as of 2023. I don't really know. Like, I get that they're innovating, but for a tech company, it almost makes sense. Like, if you're a true tech company, there would be less and less employees because you're so technologically advanced. You automate things and you have like robots, or you have, you know, like computer like I don't know, to me it just seems like they're pretty dated. They're founded in 1911. We'll see if they're able to adjust and hold on and really continue to push it forward with the quantum computers. I have no doubt that there'll be a player, but to the actual growth potential that we potentially would see here in the near future, it's quite questionable, especially now if we look on IBM, um, on their market cap. They're 200 billion. Okay. If they somehow manage to grab a large piece of quantum computing, they might go up to 400 billion. It's possible, but that's pretty low probability that that would happen. So we'll see what happens with IBM. I'll keep you guys updated on it. That's kind of how it looks right now, though. Seems like it potentially could go up. I would look for 2x, something like that I could buy. Otherwise, it's kind of at a critical point. If it sells down here, that again, you know, could happen. But that's how we see IBM. That's why I didn't have it first on the list. Google, on the other hand, could have it first on the list. I'm very long-term bullish and short-term bullish on Google. You guys saw. I mean, I didn't even have to Google, and we had all these mentions of Google's quantum chips. And I'm really grateful for Google personally. Part of my business is run on YouTube, so I love that they have YouTube, and then you see them getting a quantum AI. They're working with NASA. They're working with other companies. They have Willow, their state-of-the-art quantum chip, which was named after me. I'm just kidding. And then Google's quantum computing breakthrough with Willow that happened in late December. That was a really big deal. You know, breakthrough Willow means. And then there's some obviously uncertainty around how it's going to affect crypto, things like that. But yeah, I mean, I can get into it, guys, more. But I mean, what you need to know about Google is they're right on the forefront of AI and everything. You see Gemini, you can see this next generation quantum chip, is right there. You can see quantum computing roadmap. So they want to go beyond classical starting in 2019, 2023. They got into quantum error correction. And then right now, looks like where they are is getting to building a long-lived logical qubit, creating a logical state, engineering scale up, and then large error corrected quantum computer. And that would be pretty epic. So, you know, they got error correction as their main focus right now. Outside of that, we'll see. I think Nvidia is going to play a big role. We saw Nvidia had Google as a partner, and they're supplying most likely a massive amount of the data center supply for Nvidia is through Google. And so we also know, we know that Google, I think they work with, what is it, Broadcom, if I'm not mistaken. It's Broadcom and Google, was that right? Yeah, so they just expanded their partnership this year. You see Broadcom and Google Cloud expanded partnership to help accelerate innovation for enterprises. And Broadcom, they're a semiconductor company, so that's another one to really take a look at. Google Cloud, VMware, Engine, VMware. Yeah, I saw VMware over in Colorado in Boulder, where I was living for a little bit. And I used to drive by when I was working in finance, and I would drive from Boulder or Louisville to Denver, and I used to see this VMware, and I used to think, oh, that's interesting. I Googled it, and they were cybersecurity, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so you see Broadcom, a partnership. You know, that could be potentially a good play to look at Broadcom. But yeah, I'd say Google, it could sell off, it could continue up. I would say long term, it's a great hold, it's a great buy. They're very diversified in tech, and nothing really poor to say about Google. I think they're just going to continue to innovate. They kind of dropped that Bard AI and shifted to Gemini, which I think was a good move. I also didn't like the name Bard. and that was kind of like their chat GPT, right? And that's doing pretty well. We see that doing well. AVGO, this is that Broadcom. So that's the partnership. Broadcom has crushed the past month. You could see they're up 50% the past month. So really crushing it. And so definitely take a look there. As we go from Google, so again, Google looks good. I would say as far as trading Google, yeah, those market open dips, or potentially you could see there could be a sell-off on that near term for sure, right? We see that just from a perspective of that rising support and resistance. Definitely could see somewhat of a sell-off. Wouldn't be crazy, down to that 175, 170. And if it goes up more, excellent. Okay. I mean, I would hold it long term if you were trying to take a conservative but well invested tech and portfolio to the next level. I would consider Google. I would consider a lot of these companies we're going over. Okay. And then you got Honeywell. So Honeywell is crushing the quantum space as well. Honeywell is one of those places, companies that you see doing like your AC. But let's see what they have for the quantum computers, because I've been hearing things. So Honeywell, the thermostat in your house, that's what I'm talking about. Honeywell Quantum Solutions and Cambridge Quantum have combined to form Quantinum, the world's largest integrated quantum computing company. They're working with pharmaceuticals, chemicals, finance, aerospace and defense, oil and gas, data centers, manufacturing, telecommunications. Quantum technology enables high-quality qubits. Okay. How quantum computing can help this steel company. They're setting records. Let's check out some of the stories here. Some good articles. It looks like they're in every single industry. Okay. Didn't see a lot of developments on how it looks, but seen some interesting, like, I guess that's how the tech looks. It looks quite interesting. Quantum computing is, yeah, their tech looks really different than some of the other tech we've seen, but it looks quite interesting. And I think it's a company worth diving deeper into. When we look at their solutions, they have energy, future aviation, Honeywell, cybersecurity. If we go to their products, do they have anything quantum related? That would be quite interesting. Yeah, I don't see purchase product there. Automation, mobile computers, robotics, RFID, conveyor systems. Yeah, I don't see any like directly able to purchase any quantum computing, but it makes sense. They're probably in research phase. So Honeywell financials are something we want to look at really quick. So Honeywell financials. Year over year up 5%, net income down 6%, but their positive net income 1.4 billion. Net profit margin is down 11%, but they're up 14% in general. The net cash, they're up 200% to about $1 billion. The revenue is up 5%. Cost of revenue, 5%. They beat their earnings per share by about 3% on average every single quarter this past year, and then missed revenue just on average about negative 0.5%, but seems they're still growing. Now, when we look at their market cap, you can see their market cap's at 146 billion. Okay, and they've had this consistent trend, really hovering around the same price they were back in 2021. If this quantum kicks in and they have some good performance, let's say they work more with the aerospace, or they work more with some of these AI companies or in the AI space, I think that could really shoot them up more. Looks like they pulled back a little bit from that high of $230. That potentially, if they pulled down a little bit, we could see them. They pulled back even more maybe down to that 215, we could see them get back. That would be a nice 10% to 20% swing. But overall, yeah, I'd like to jump in deeper on the company. But also, I just wanted to make this video to share with you guys that they're a company to look at in quantum computing and that they have a unique approach compared to other quantum computing companies. So we'll keep a close eye on them. They look a tiny bit overextended right now. Could see them pull back a little bit, but definitely on the uptrend consistently. They do look overextended again. Would like to see more of a sell-off, maybe at market open Monday. We got QSI and ARQQ on the list. Think I'll cover those ones individually in another video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button. Do consider subscribing. I appreciate you all. And again, make sure to join StockMeet in that second link down below if you'd like to watch me trade live each day at market open and get the opportunity to get StockMeet for free if AMD hits $185 by March 20th with our current sale. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you all. Make sure to hit that like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.